Okay. We are here. It is time for the Men's College World Series. The 8 for Omaha has been finalized. All the games are done except for the ones at the Charles Schwab Field in Omaha, the greatest setting in all of college sport, not just college baseball, college sport. And we are here to recap how these 8 teams got there from Super Regional Weekend, which had all the flair you could imagine, and predict what's going to happen over the next 11, 12 days in Omaha, the greatest city where college baseball mecca comes together. And we will get you there over the next 45 minutes or so, because Kyle Schassburger.
I thought you were playing final calls. I thought you were playing final calls to start this podcast.
I was. And
You've already went off script, man.
I did. I pivoted. All right. We're going to get them in there in just a second, but it's okay. I wanted to introduce us first. All right. I wanted to talk about
Nobody cares who we are. Okay. Nobody cares who we are. They care about the college baseball. They care about the feeds. They care about the highlights pumping through their veins, how Murray State is one of the final 8. Holy moly. But no, this is your show, man. You're steering it because you got to get the reps on steering this thing, because I'm leaving and I ain't ever coming back.
Yeah. Kyle Schassburger, let's start there. Kyle Schassburger, first of all, you're in Chicago. All right. Yeah. So Kyle is gone for the next week. So he is podcasting remotely, doesn't even have his equipment. He's just using his Apple earbuds, which we're used to doing in the past. But I'm still in Winston-Salem. I'm remaining in Winston-Salem. Kyle Schassburger, when he comes back, has 2 weeks left in Winston-Salem, because congratulations to Kyle Schassburger, the new voice of Louisiana Tech. Yes.
Thank you.
He's got the hat ready. Listen to that fight song, man. I mean, you're going to get so used to these beats. It's great.
I love it, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, life-changing stuff. It's been a blur of the last few months going through this process, and I've climbed the mountain, man. It's surreal. So yes, I will be leaving and heading to Ruston, Louisiana at the end of the month, starting July 1. And it's something I've always, dreamt of doing is being the voice of a program that mattered, with a fan base that cared about radio, certainly, and to be that guy calling football, men's basketball, and baseball. So all the shows, being in the community, and yeah, I am leveling up, I guess you would say. And this is, most important part of my professional life, this next step. So appreciate being with you the last couple of years, few years, 5 years. I don't even know. I lose track.
I think it's 5. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be hard leaving that sort of thing. But, I'm always, I will be tuning in. That's for sure. So I'll be here.
Yes. Well, anyway, just wanted to give you your moment in the spotlight. Congratulations again. We've already talked off camera, but I'm thrilled for you. Everyone at Learfield is thrilled for you. We can't wait to listen to you call Louisiana Tech. It's not La Tech, folks, by the way. It is Louisiana Tech, or Tech. Get it right, because our man Kyle Schassburger is the radio voice, and if you don't, he will fly in from Ruston and beat it into your brains. All right? It's Louisiana Tech or Tech, not La Tech. We don't go by that.
It's going to be a hard thing, because there are plenty of people who might catch wind of what you just said and be like, no, I call it La Tech. But, there's both can be right. However, we are going with Louisiana Tech. Okay. Yes. We are ushering this era of me as the voice. You can call it Tech, you can call it Louisiana Tech, but La Tech, more often than not, when in print form, people start spouting out the LA Tech and things can go sideways. So to protect the brand in Ruston, yeah, we're going to go Louisiana Tech, and we're going to go Tech. So man,
it is a little tough, because on the hats it says La Tech sometimes, so it is a little difficult to remember. But I'm trying to help you out. I'm going with what you told me. So we are going to try and usher in
I'm
this new
going-
era of Louisiana Tech.
I'm going with what my boss is telling me.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
So what he says and what he wants to do, we're going to do. Now, you know, the university may be a little bit more lenient on the way because they just want folks talking about them, you know, and there's
Sure.
going to be plenty of alum and even current students who are going to say that in short form. But, you know, we're going to take the approach with this network. And me as director of broadcasting, it is Louisiana Tech. We're going to rebrand the network to the Louisiana Tech Sports Network. We're dropping the La Tech. So we just want a little bit more consistency across the board in what we're doing moving forward, which means, guess what? I get to help identify what commercial spots need to be recut. That sounds familiar, right? Somebody knows a lot about that, given the last decade of my life in Learfield. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of that.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, anyways, we will miss you here in Winston-Salem. Folks who are wondering what is happening to the podcast, it's not going away. Just TBD on where we will go next. Who will replace? No one can replace Kyle Schassburger, but there are plans in the works. Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers will live on. So fans of the podcast, don't worry, we're not going anywhere just because half of 3D is moving on to become the new voice of Louisiana Tech. Anyways, let's talk.
Did you name that fight song Kahn so you didn't give it away in the queue?
Yes, okay, I did.
Very good. Very good.
Yes, I did. Yes, first I named it Shass, and I said that's too obvious. Let me name it Kahn. So yes, I did do that late last night when I recorded the Louisiana Tech fight song off of YouTube using a screen recorder and then put it in Audition.
That's amazing. By the way, not only is Murray State in, but they also TKO'd Mr. Chris Pollard.
Yes, they did.
So,
yes. Coaching carousel news to come as well. We have to talk about that. We have to talk about the Super Regional recap. We should also mention Mike Monaco is returning, third year in a row. He will join me on Thursday to preview the Men's College World Series, one of the voices of the Men's College World Series for ESPN. We have locked that in, so he will be back. Always a great time when Mike comes on the program. He'll be joining us live from Omaha, so that's great. And that'll be your preview for Mr. Mike for the Men's College World Series. No better way to do it than with a guy who's literally going to call half of the games in Mike Monaco. So excited for that. But before that, Kyle Schassburger, we have some gear in the house.
I see
some
that.
New gear. Do you see this Tulane corduroy hat? And you know where it's from? It's from Homefield. Homefieldapparel.com has come through in the clutch and delivered to me, to my head, one of the comfiest hats that I have ever put on this dome in the history of my life. All right? It is a new kind of hat. There's a nice little rope on the top. You can stretch it out. Not normally my style, but I got to be honest, I feel like there is a cloud laid upon the top of my head. It kind of feels like the shower that we were talking about in Hoover last week, and I love it. So thank you, Homefield. More gear I know is on the way. We know plenty of folks have already used our discount code, but if you have not, 3D15 for 15% off your first order at homefieldapparel.com. Homefield makes quality, thoughtful apparel for more than 190 colleges and universities. All of the universities are represented in the Men's College World Series except Murray State. Coastal Carolina, they just dropped it, Shass. We knew this was coming, but they just dropped it. The Omaha project is alive and well. You can pre-order your 2016 Coastal Carolina pullover jerseys celebrating their 2016 championship at the Men's College World Series. They're back for the first time since that 2016 run. It just dropped last night. You have that, and we have a new summer school edition coming out. Auburn was last week. Michigan is this week for Homefield Apparel. You get 8 new Michigan hats dropping on Thursday as part of Homefield Apparel's summer school line. So check that out. Check out your Coastal Carolina pullovers that you can pre-order now as part of the Omaha project. From school-branded baseball and softball pullovers and bomber jackets to unique snapbacks and comfortable form-fitting T-shirts, joggers, and more, Homefield has everything you need to get you geared up for the 2025 Men's College World Series beginning Friday, June 13th in Omaha. So thank you to homefieldapparel.com, who is our sponsor, one of our new sponsors for the postseason. They help us go around the diamond, which we're going to do right now because Super Regionals, there's so much to talk about. Kyle Schassburger, where in the heck do you want to start? Because there are so many ways.
How about you play the final calls and let's let that tell the story?
All right. I will do that right now.
Here's the 1-1. This ball hit on the ground. Right to Walker Mitchell. He fields, throws to first. Put this one in the book. Ball game over. Ball game over. Shots win. Shots win. Sweet home Alabama. CCU in Omaha. Here comes the Roosters.
1-2 the count on Carter French. Tony Pluta to the plate. French swing and a miss. Strike three. The Arizona Wildcats are going to Omaha.
In the air, center field. Moore is under it. And on to Omaha for the Cardinals.
2-2 pitch. He struck him out swinging. Omaha for the Razorbacks in 2025. Back where they belong. The Hogs vanquish the Volunteers. Do you believe?
Here's his 3-2. Slider popped him up. Right side. Shallow right field. Phoenix call underneath. He makes the catch. And UCLA is on their way to Omaha. For the 6th time in program history and the first in 12 years, the Bruins are in the College World Series.
Keljo comes set. Nelly's 3-2 pitch taken. Strike three call. The Beavers return to Omaha.
Well, stands in. Righty on lefty matchup. Nobody on. 2 outs. Bottom of the ninth. 12-5. Tigers lead the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Tigers win. Tigers win. Head north, young man. You're going to Omaha.
Nice music choice there, guy.
Thank you.
Man. That got
Figured
me,
you could bump along to that.
Yeah, that got me a little hot and bothered, man. That was good.
Thank you.
That.
I gotta listen. We're losing a huge production guru in the building with you departing to Louisiana Tech. I got to step up my game. All right. I am stepping up the production gains to take over for your absence that is coming at the end of the month when you depart to Ruston. Anyways, that was Brian Jeffries, Joe Catanacci, Mike Parker, Sean Moth, Nick Cope, Phil Elson, Chris Blair across many radio networks, some Learfield, some not, that we have pulled in to compile that final calls. Murray State does not have a radio broadcast for baseball, so we unfortunately do not have a Murray State radio call. But we got
Why don't you give them a call, man? See if they need their games done in Omaha.
Listen, I would love to do that. They have a radio voice. They just don't do baseball. So I imagine that if they do a radio broadcast in Omaha, they will bring him along for the ride. Anyways, that's your 8 teams. Bracket 1, Arizona, Coastal Carolina, rematch of the 2016 finals. Louisville, Oregon State. Bracket 2, Duke, UCLA, LSU, Arkansas. Bracket 1 begins on Friday at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Bracket 2 is Saturday, same times, 2 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern. All 4 games, Kyle Schassburger, on the mothership, ESPN. How about that?
You just said Duke, UCLA. You want to try again on that one? You were just reading the first
Murray
name.
Murray State, UCLA.
Gotcha.
Damn it.
Gotcha. Hey, it's good they're on ESPN because there was a situation this past weekend.
Oh,
where
my God.
UCLA and UTSA were relegated to ESPNU in favor of the frickin' Savannah Bananas.
Yes.
What are we doing? Was that at Bank of America Stadium, too, in Charlotte?
Yes. That was night 2 of the Savannah Bananas at Bank of America Stadium, which no shade on the Savannah Bananas, all right? They put on a show. They really, really do. And there was a second night of sold-out action at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. But it is college baseball postseason in a tight game. You cannot relegate a college baseball postseason game to a lesser level of ESPN channel because the Savannah Bananas game is running long. Guess what? The Savannah Bananas game is on a script. They're running long. That's their damn problem. Put them on ESPN Plus or ESPN News or ESPNU and put the college baseball postseason game that everybody is tuning into ESPN2 to watch on ESPN2. That is outrageous. It's my reverse hat tip for the week because that is I'm squarely keeping the hat off my head for that. That was terrible. No go. Bad move by ESPN. Horrible.
Yeah. Tough scene to say the least. Speaking of TV, $2.4 million viewers for Game 3 of Texas and Texas Tech and the Women's College World Series final. That's all Texas women. Win that most watched college softball game ever. So Women's College World Series in the rearview mirror. Texas beats Texas Tech. Now we have these 8 teams ascending upon Omaha. That John Catanacci. Joe Catanacci. You had to rip that one off somewhere because it didn't sound too great. We heard it in real time, right? On the rundown. Yes. I was listening as I was driving up to Chicago on Saturday. And amazing call. What exactly did he say about the rooster? Here comes the rooster. Yeah, that was scintillating. That was great.
Yes. He had the best final call, I think, of anybody.
He did. Rematch of 2016, as you already eloquently demonstrated. Oregon State, Louisville. Yeah, okay, cool. Good to see the Beavers back. Good to see Dan McDonald get Louisville back. You know what I'm seeing shaping up here as I look at bracket 2? UCLA, Murray State, Arkansas, LSU. In prime time, no surprise. Saturday night, Arkansas and LSU. This will be a 6 o'clock first pitch. Arkansas at their best. I still stand by it. You and I agree here. We both picked the Hogs to win it all. I don't think at least I'm not moving off of them. Nobody's going to beat Arkansas at their best. So, you know what we might have? You think how close Arkansas got. And what was this year? Was this 2018 when they dropped the foul ball against Oregon State?
Yes.
In the finals that would have won Arkansas their first ever national championship?
Yes.
Brutal moment for that program. And a nightmare that fan base, much of them probably continues to live day in and day out when they see the Arkansas baseball season certainly come to an end. It's the ghosts, similar to me as a Cubs fan. It's like Steve Bartman, what did it take to exercise those demons of 2003 with him interfering with Moises Alou in left field on a ball that should have been caught. And then the rest of the inning went sideways. Ultimately, we lose the series. And it wasn't until 2016. It was 12, 13 years later that the Cubs were able to win a World Series and get back to that stage legitimately. Here for Arkansas, they have a chance to do maybe half the time. But, Kahn, I'm seeing an Oregon State-Arkansas finals. And, wow, what poetry that would provide all of college baseball, and certainly for Arkansas, to get back into the 2 out of 3 championship series and potentially be able to reverse the curse, if you will, of what Oregon State delivered to them a few years earlier.
I mean, who says no, right? Like that. This is the Schwab plays, or the Chuck, as they're now calling it, is a big ballpark, right? It is not a homer-friendly ballpark. And so I think that mitigates Arizona's offense a ton. Now, I know Oregon State had 5 homers in their finale over Florida State and won because of it, but they just won because they just hit better overall. I really like Oregon State's offense to play in a doubles ballpark at the Chuck, and I think they have a really good shot of getting out of bracket 1. They have a lot of pitching that can certainly be bolstered out of the bullpen. Nelson Keljo, for one, was an absolute stud this past weekend. Ethan Kleinschmidt had 11 strikeouts and a loss. Come on. So I agree with you. I could easily see an Arkansas-Oregon State finals. And what poetry it would be, like you said, if Arkansas vanquishes Oregon State. You heard it in Phil Elson's final call. They vanquished the national champions in Tennessee. After that, they vanquished the team that has this looming specter over their heads. No fault of Oregon State's at all. They just hit the pop-up. They didn't kill them. Arkansas did it to themselves. But it would kind of be very poetic if Arkansas beats Oregon State to win their first ever baseball national championship.
Yeah, it was 2018. 3 Arkansas fielders watched the foul ball drop between them with 2 outs. If just one of them had caught it, Razorbacks would have won a national championship.
Yeah.
So Oregon State ties it up. They win, I think, with a home run later in the night, and then it went to a Game 3 that even the series went to a Game 3 that Oregon State had won. Yeah, I love the way, and I just laid out the story for Arkansas and just how thrilling, edge of your seat, if you will, the story for the Hogs, a team that had never won the national championship, that has had so much dominance during the regular season under Dave Van Horn, certainly over the last 5 to 7 years, and the amount of wins, but nothing to show for it at the end. A team that doesn't really take Hoover as seriously, from what we've seen over the last few years and plays for this moment. And for them to get back to Omaha, this is their 12th trip overall. I think they've been, even go back to that 2018 College World Series. Maybe this is just their third. 18, they were there against Ole Miss when Ole Miss won in 22. I don't have the list in front of me. I'm just going off memory, but I think those are their three most recent, 18, 22, and 25. Could be one more, but still, the story of Arkansas, of how close they were against Oregon State, as I just talked about. And then for Oregon State, though, I think it's easy for us all to forget. And we forgot about them. I think we did an okay job. We talked about Oregon State enough during the year, but like they're this team just wandering aimlessly, but with a purpose. Wandering aimlessly with a purpose. That is Oregon State. Building out their own schedule, being an independent, like the Notre Dame of college football. Everybody wanted to rag on their schedule like a Notre Dame in college football. Everybody did not want to give them the benefit of the doubt, nationally. Should they have been one of the 8 national seeds? And they ended up getting it ahead of FSU. And like we talked about last week, Corvallis would make a difference. The home field would make a difference for them this time versus being on the road in Lexington. And it absolutely paid off. But what a story that would be for them. Now they've won titles. So I think the better story still is Arkansas. But still, for Oregon State in year one of wandering aimlessly with a purpose to get to this point and potentially win it, cool. But hey, that's just 2 teams, Con. There's 6 other teams in here vying for a natty, including Coastal Carolina, who did it in 16. Arizona, who's also won a natty before, lost to Coastal when these two met in 16. Murray State, the Racers, 4th ever trip, I think, to the NCAA tournament, period. Yep. And then earn their first ever. And you had a tweet last night. I'm going to give you some shit. You said something about the Valley and Evansville and Indiana State paving the way. Are you forgetting about Missouri State, good sir? They've actually been to Omaha. That was like 2003. That was 2003. I want to say. Yeah, but still.
I'm not forgetting about them.
All right. Well, they are the Missouri Valley trailblazer in a lot of ways. So
I was talking about in recent memory.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I mean, I'm not forgetting about them. Like, I know they were the last team to actually make it to Omaha back in 2003, which is the last time, coincidentally, that Murray State was in the tournament. Not forgetting about them. I just didn't mention them because people would have been like, oh, you're going back. There's a 20-year gap between those two. So I was trying to use recency bias to help my tweet.
No, that's okay. You don't want to give too much context in tweets either, because then people you want people to generate opinions and come at you. So I was just coming at you. That's all.
That's fair. Here's a great note for you, though. First time since 1957, we have no repeat teams from the previous season in the Men's College World Series.
Yeah, that's cool. I was telling some of the guys on the golf course yesterday. I played 72 holes of golf in 2 days. I played like shit, as I always do whenever I'm in this event. I mean, it was terrible, man. It was like I had the yips. It was like the first time I ever picked up a club, but I saw that nugget. First, it went back to the super regional era, 1999, and then there must have been even more digging. So what's the year, 56, 57?
1957.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, there's plenty of programs in there that we're familiar with on this stage, Arkansas being one of them, LSU. But, again, nobody from the previous year. I mean, we're coming off a stretch where we had, like, Texas there for, like, 3 or 4 straight years. Stanford was, like, the same thing, how one of these teams didn't break through. I can't believe I made the comment last week. How many teams lose game 1 on the road and come back and win 2 games? And who did it? Freaking Arizona.
Arizona. After getting rocked. Yeah.
They got destroyed.
Yes. Yeah. So let's start there. Let's start in Chapel Hill then, because I really want to talk about this super regional. So Arizona, as you mentioned, got just run over like a freight train in game 1. They lose 18-2. Tar Heels set a season high with 18 runs. They have 5 straight runners reach in the bottom of the first before Arizona records an out. They hit 4 homers. They get the 200th career win for Scott Forbes at UNC. And you're like, all right, I saw that and I was like, I was wrong. UNC is just unstoppable force. They're going to win. Then game 2, it's this seesaw affair where you have 5 lead changes. Arizona scores 4 runs in the 7th to take the lead for good. And then game 3, they're down again in the 8th inning, 3-1. They score 3 runs in the 8th on 2 errors, a bunt single, and a 2-run hit from Mason White, and they win. Just like that, it's over. Incredible stuff.
Yeah. I didn't catch any of that. It was hard for me to keep up with a lot of this over the weekend, but I did listen on the radio to some of Dave Nathan. I think that was game. They started on Friday, didn't they?
Yes,
so that would
they
have
were
been
one of the
maybe
4 on Friday.
Yeah, so I guess it was game 2 early on in that contest a little bit. But, yeah, I don't have anything to give you other than knee-jerk. You see the score game 1, and then all of a sudden Arizona just comes through. Like, what happened? Like, how did Carolina – like, that's my thought. Like, bro, you win 18-2, and then you allow Arizona to win both games after that? Like, you had them – you didn't have them on the ropes. Like, you had them – dangling over top the ropes. Like, you clotheslined them over the ropes and they were hanging by a toenail, like, before hitting the floor. So I don't know. That's crazy. Let me pull up. You have anything else you might want to add on that series?
Not in particular, because I feel the exact same way as like North Carolina. What happened? Like, you know, I get it. Game 2, back and forth affair. Arizona's the home team. Like, you end up getting that win. But then in game 3, you have a 3-1 lead in the 8th inning and you can't close it out. And you're normally sparkling. All we heard about North Carolina all season was how good their defense was, and their defense just caves in on itself in the most pivotal moment to send them back to Omaha. That was the biggest thing I took away from that one. Is holy cow! Like, what happened to UNC's really good defense?
Yeah.
It was insane. So there, you know, Arizona is going to play Coastal Carolina, who you picked Auburn, I picked Coastal. Coastal ended up sweeping Auburn. They won game 1, 7-6 in 10 innings. A huge weather delay in the bottom of the 6th inning in game 1. Hour and 46-minute delay. Game resumes at 12:45 Eastern. Ended at 3:30 a.m. Eastern in 10 innings when Caden Bodine hits his second home run of the night in the top of the 10th. So
I was up for that. I was watching.
Okay.
No,
so
I wasn't. I was up until they restarted play around 1 a.m. Eastern
That was
time.
me. That was me.
And
I was up
went,
until 1 a.m. Yeah.
And then I went to sleep.
Yes. So Caden Bodine's the winner in game 1. Game 2, Coastal wins 4-1. Jacob Morrison, Hayden Johnson, just too dominant, nighty-night. They had a 3-run 7th. That was it. You know, we're talking about the fact that we think it could be an Arkansas, Oregon State. I think Coastal Carolina is the biggest one that could challenge Oregon State in bracket 1. I really do. Like, they're so balanced. And they just showed it by going on the road to an SEC ballpark and putting them to bed. Like, just not 1-2, good night. And in front of, you know, Auburn brought in temporary seating out the wazoo. They packed Plainsman Park. It didn't matter. Coastal won both games. I am all in on this Chanticleer's team. Like, just all in.
And I think they get off of people still continuing to doubt them because they're Coastal. You know, like, they feel slighted. They play with a certain chip, even though they've won a title in 16 and had some success winning a couple of regionals before that. They have. You and I had a phone call with Josh from Homefield a couple of weeks back, and he was teasing, you know, the Coastal line that just dropped and talking about just the rise of this university that used to be, you know, reminded us that they used to be kind of a satellite campus or directional school as part of the South Carolina University system. And don't quote me on that, but like, they decided at one point, because of the amount of money, you know, that they were generating, or the booster support and them being close to the beach and the enrollment that was increasing, all of these different elements, you know, the rise of, you know, they were an FCS power for a short little spurt too in football. Back when I was in college, I think, you know, 07, 08, 09, 010, you know, before they actually made the jump as a full-blown, you know, Division I FBS football member, they decided we're going to go off and be our own, you know, and they have this enthusiasm for themselves, and it's not arrogant. Some of it may be arrogance, but it's rightfully earned who they are. And they use this as like this blue collar workman-like attitude that can be flashy in terms of going to a campus on the beach, but like, and the money that they are injecting at every turn, it seems like, into their programs and into their facilities and into their student athletes, and the increase in enrollment each and every year. But the way they go out and perform, like, they're going to knock you in your mouth, and they're going to take offense to you thinking they're little old Coastal. And you can't, the moment you misidentify who they are, like, they're going to make you pay. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think Coastal is it's Coastal and Oregon State, to me, are the two favorites out of bracket 1. Now, we've been wrong a lot throughout this tournament. So that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
And then in bracket 2 for me, it's got to be Arkansas. I mean, God, what happens if LSU? We're gonna have Cade Anderson against Zach Root game 1 on Saturday night. Sign me up for that.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Yes. After Zach Root and Gabe Gackle combined to throw a 2-hitter in game 1 against Tennessee in the Super to win 4-3.
And that was
those guys are locked in.
2 home runs. Those are the only 2 hits.
That's right. And Ryder Helfrich, who likes his taters mashed, had the go-ahead home run for Arkansas in the bottom of the 5th. They never trailed after that.
Yeah, he hit like a Little League pop-up that climbed over the wall.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were on the rundown. We were on that on the Super Regional rundown when that happened. And Phil Elson's call was perfect. He's like, oh, lazy fly ball to left. It keeps going and going. Holy crap, they got out of here. We're like, yeah, I mean, what the heck? But no, it will be sensational stuff. On Coastal, I do want to bring up this story because this story surfaced on Twitter. Noah Bieniek shared this from Kevin Schnall's press conference after they won. So apparently 9 years ago, when Coastal went to the Men's College World Series, his son, who was in 3rd grade at the time, suffered 5 strokes. And so his kids were not able to travel with them when they won the Natty. And now they're able to go back again because Coastal is back in the College World Series. I think that's an incredible story. Just wanted to give some light to that. At NoahB77_ on Twitter sharing that. Thank you for sharing. Apparently reshared it from Brandon Dunn. So thank you for putting that out there. And thank you to Kevin Schnall. He's my dude of the week, Kyle Schassburger, because he has been so open and transparent and honest, things that we all strive for in our daily lives to get from everyone that we interact with. And I think that he is just, the epitome of a good guy, a good dude. And so I'm going to give him my dude of the week for just his openness, his willingness to be emotionally available and transparent and honest and open up about the hard things in life. So I want to give him my dude of the week for that.
Yeah, certainly that more impactful of a story than him necessarily undressing Kevin O'Sullivan last weekend. But that speaks to what you're talking about and him being open, saying the right thing, taking a stand and believing in it, having conviction. The way that he operates. Yeah, he's become I've become a big fan of him. It's hard not to be the way he's conducted himself here, certainly in the limelight, in the public, light here over the last couple of weeks throughout this tournament in the postseason. So can we talk about Murray State?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Murray State fortunately had the opportunity to dogpile twice and celebrate a Omaha College World Series berth last night. That's my takeaway, and good for them because they deserve to get 2 dogpiles out of it. And also Dan Skirka, he had his 9-year-old son on the field with him immediately after. He's doing a TV interview. The team's all getting ready to throw Gatorade on him, and he's like, "I'm sorry, boys, but I got to go." Like that was just these stories of these teams that rarely get an opportunity to reach this stage. And it takes lightning in a bottle to the 1000th degree to have the right recipe when you are in a Murray State or, when it used to be for Coastal, but as we talked about, that's not the case anymore. But whether you're a Fresno, whether you're a Stony Brook, whomever, Kent State, even a team like an Oral Roberts, still, it takes a special blend to be able to get here. And even for a lot of the big schools. And for them to be able to celebrate, have the emotions, see them just, channel their inner kid. And for a guy like Skirka, who, he cuts the grass at their ballpark. And their ballpark seats like 800 people. Like, it's trash. but it's their own slice of heaven. It's their cathedral that they don't know any better. And they have to put in the work to keep that thing up to a certain level for them to play, for them to call it home. They respect it. They make the most of it, whatever. It's cool. It's a ball field. It's their home. It's special to them. But my man Skirka cuts the grass. And man, what a crazy, I'm glad it still ended the way, because my first thought last night, now we know Chris Pollard's going to Virginia, but Pollard comes out for a review. They turn a double play in the 9th inning, and they ruled interference on the base runner. So it was called the double play when really the play didn't happen traditionally in a way that you would have thought. So they go to review it. Duke asks for the review. Then they overturn it. They say the base runner did not interfere at second base. It was not a game-ending, Omaha clinching double play for Murray State in the bottom of the 9th inning. Mm-hmm. My first thought, Con, was, oh no, what if Murray State just dogpiled and then they never actually get to dogpile and don't go to Omaha. That was the one thing, the only thing going through my mind at that point, because I'm like, this is going to be the most crazy ending that vaults a team into the College World Series ever. And the controversy that's going to be attached to it, if Duke somehow comes back and wins this and then they go to Omaha, holy moly. However, I think it was a 3 unassisted play to end right after.
Yep.
It was Murray State. They get the dogpile again. It's over. And, you know, as much as I've beat the drum for Duke over the years and I've covered Duke, and Chris Pollard is a master-class man. Now, some of that might be in question by much of the Duke folks right now, that you're going to leave in conference and go to Virginia. And I'd love to, you know, autopsy that situation if we have time. But, man, Duke had it. They were the heavy favorites. It was inexcusable that they didn't beat a team like Murray State. And their pitching, you know, failed them in many ways. And Murray State earned it. God bless.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Well, James Talon looked lost last night. Like he looked like he was on another planet. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, Murray State has a shot, because you got to go back to game 1 when Duke just, you know, neat and tidy. Kyle Johnson gets the start in for AJ Gracio, who was suspended from the regional final after wearing the home run prop onto the field. And he's like, okay, cool. 4 for 4, 5 RBIs and a home run. Like, I'm fine. I can do it. Like, oh, and you see that and you go, okay, this is Duke's super regional. They're going to win. And then Murray State just bludgeons the Blue Devils to death, 19-9 in game 2, a 9-run 7th inning. Graham Kellum 3 innings saved to set a program record for saves in a season with 9. And you go, all right, Murray State got their shot. Now we'll see what happens in game 3. First pitch of the game, Jonathan Hogart, leadoff home run for the second straight game. And you're like, oh, is Murray State going to do this? And then they go quiet. They go 1 for 11 from the 2nd through the 6th. Duke takes the lead. And you're like, okay, they had their spark. Duke's got control. They've got the crowd. Hogart ties it in the 7th. You're like, what is happening? Like, what is going on here? It's tied at 3, and then Luke Mastoni, that back-breaking home run in the 8th inning to take the lead for good. And they bring in Graham Kellum again, who gets the final 8 outs. So he throws 5 2/3 innings over the last 2 days to come back. And they were talking about it on the broadcast. Like, his arm is definitely not 100%, but he had the ability to just be pinpoint accurate with his location. And he was so locked in and stalwart on that bump. And he comes in and finishes off the super regional win for Murray State. It's a great story. You mentioned Dan Skirka cutting his own grass. Obviously, it's going to be a huge story when a 4 seed makes it to Omaha. It's the 4th time it's ever happened. You already mentioned the other 3, or Robert Stony Brook, Fresno State. Of course, Fresno State won it all in 2008. So it's a great story regardless, but just the way it happened and the controversy at the end with the runner's interference, because I had the exact same thought as you of, oh no, what if Duke Duke had the winning run at the plate? All they had to do was hit a home run. It was over. And I was like, I can see it now. Here we go.
Man. I know.
But it didn't happen. Murray State wins, and good for the Racers, good for the Missouri Valley, and good for college baseball, because here's the thing, and it's so funny because we talked about it last week. So many people were dogging on the SEC for only getting 4 teams into the super regional round. And after all that, they still have the most teams in the College World Series with 2 of any conference. It's incredible.
There should be some language in the bracket once we get to Omaha. I don't care if it lines up where you're supposed to play each other in bracket 2, LSU and Arkansas. We've got to move one of the teams to the other side. We got to balance. Like, we can't have, let's say, 4 teams from the SEC getting to Omaha, which I know we've had last year, 2 years ago. We had 5. Yeah. We had 5 recently, 2 once, didn't we? I don't know, but at least 4. We can't have 3 on one side and 1 on the other, type of deal. We got to make sure it's 2 and 2. 2 and 2. So in this case, LSU, go avenge your loss to Coastal Carolina in 2016. Put LSU in bracket 1. Like, what are we doing? We don't need to hold ourselves hostage to this format. Let's balance the scales. Okay. Yeah. Once we get to Omaha, let's balance the scales.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Let's see. Who have we not talked about? We haven't talked about LSU. Just brought them up. LSU, they played like LSU this past weekend. They really did. Yeah. Cade Anderson was good. I don't want to call him great. He gave up 7 runs over 7 innings. Anthony Ianson, again, was good, not great, but their offense was just, way too much. Griffin Kern ran out of gas. Jack Hartsonis ran out of gas, as we anticipated. It was incredibly hot in Baton Rouge. It was 100 degrees plus with the heat index on game 1. Game 2 was delayed 3 hours due to weather that didn't hit after first pitch began, but they were worried about it. Whatever. And LSU they always had an answer. 7 runs in the 5th in game 1, 6 runs in the 7th in game 2, and West Virginia just had no prayer. I mean, it was great season for Steve Sabins, but LSU was just too much for them to overcome, as we anticipated.
Yeah, they could really swing it this past weekend. Expecting them to return to form after nearly giving it away in their regional last week. The tough game against Little Rock, having to overcome a deficit against them. But yeah, they returned to form in a massive, massive way. I don't have anything else to add there. That covers them. Louisville, Miami was fun.
Yes.
Did we have a walk-off on Saturday or close to one?
Close to one. The Cardinals got the tying run to the plate,
Okay.
but then Brian Walters slammed the door. You had a leadoff home run from Louisville with Garrett Pike in game 1. He went back-to-back with Jake Monroe, who had 5 RBIs in that first game that Louisville won 8-1. Miami came back from an early deficit, 4 in the 4th, 3 more in the 8th on a Daniel Cuvée 3-run homer to win 9-6. That was the decider there. And then Sunday, Louisville wins 3-2. Miami started things off with a 2-run homer in the 3rd. Louisville ties it in the 4th, took the lead in the 7th on Eddie King Jr.'s RBI single and Justin West, who put the tying and go-ahead runs on base in the top of the 9th, slams the door. So, no walk-offs, but they did actually, slam it down. The only walk-off I want to say we had was Oregon State. Mm-hmm. Yeah, AJ Singer in the 10th inning in game 1 when they won 5-4 over Florida State, who then forced a game 2, and Oregon State won game 3 with 5 homers. But no, Louisville, Miami was fun. I mean, the games were up in the air in the 9th inning, 2 out of the 3 days, right? You can't really ask for more drama than that.
Yeah. What else do you have about any of these teams and what we have
UCLA,
in Omaha? Okay.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Bruins real quick because John Savage, we have been huge fans of John Savage and the way he plays ball and the way his teams play ball, and they haven't made the World Series in 12 years. And the last time they did, they won it.
Rock Chalosky,
Who didn't homer. He did not homer at all.
Damn, hate it.
Sadly, but he had multiple hits in both games. UCLA's pitching, dude. They throw the last 16 innings scoreless work against UTSA, who, let's just remember, UTSA led off the Super Regional with a home run. Mason Lytle, first pitch he saw, bang, 1-0 UTSA. And I'm like, uh-oh, here come the Roadrunners. And then the second inning, delayed steal of home. They lead 2-0, and UCLA outscores them 12-0 over the next 2 games. That was it. It was over. That was all the offense UTSA could muster. Michael Barnett, very solid. Ethan Hawke got the save in game 1, and then UCLA just dominated them in every facet in game 2. Their bullpen, 5 hitless innings to finish off the sweep, and it's their first postseason shutout since they beat Mississippi State in the deciding game in the 13 College World Series. So UCLA is firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, they are. It's good to have that. There's a lot of good blue blood programs too that have returned, that we haven't seen in some time. So I mean, looking at the field again, I think it's got a little bit of everything. It's got, a lot of the conversation could be made, the Cinderella isn't good once you get to the biggest stage. I think with the Final Four, yeah, I would agree. But with the College World Series, where we have 8 teams there, I think having a Murray State there just helps add another layer of intrigue and excitement and helps us celebrate the beauty of the season where you can get hot at the right time and even the little guy, can have his day in the sun. We can have some David versus Goliath type stuff. So I think it's a good representation to have a team like a Murray State that can get across. And yeah, the 4 rarely does, but here they are, and they're going to take on a power in UCLA right out of the gate. You got Arkansas, LSU, their traditions. Of course, LSU with their 6 national championships, winning last 2 years ago, and the SEC, familiarity between those two. Arkansas gunning for their first ever national championship, and out of bracket 1, Coastal Arizona rematch of 16, and Oregon State Louisville, both of them returning after being there for some regularity. I think it's a very sexy, exciting field, just chock full of storylines up and down the board. I'm stoked, man. I'm excited. So Friday, we're going to have 2 games. Saturday, we're going to have 2 more. And they're all, if you're in the central time zone, which I've already retrained my brain for, which is good because I'll be moving to the central time zone in a couple of weeks. But being here in Chicago,
the best time zone.
Yes, God's time. God's time. So we are. It's 2 and 6 o'clock, right? Each day.
Yeah, 2 and 7.
Oh, 2 and 7. See, I've already messed up. It's 2 and 6, bro. It's 1 and 6. It's 1 and 6.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 1 and 6. So we
yes,
each had
1 and 6 Central Time. Yes, 2 and 7 Eastern Time. And then you will have 2 on Sunday, 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, and Thursday is if necessary. So we, like I said, we will have another podcast. I will have another podcast coming up this week with Mike Monaco to preview the Men's College World Series. We'll get his thoughts as he is one of 2 voices of ESPN with Carl Ravitch that will call the Men's College World Series yet again this year. And then, Kyle, you and I will podcast probably not again until
June 20th.
Yeah, until
19th or 20th.
19th or 20th, depending on when the final. We're down to the final 2. So our podcast schedule a little bit truncated this time of year because we don't really have much to say while the pool play is still going on. So once pool play is decided, we will come back and we will recap that, and we will talk about the final 2 teams that are going to play a best-of-3 series for the Men's College World Series, which is Saturday, June 21st through Monday, June 23rd. Not much else on the field itself. I do want to let you know, you brought up the fact that there's a little bit of everything in this College World Series. And you know who else has a little bit of everything? Baseball Barbecue. Got to go to baseballbarbecue.com. They make patented baseball bat handle barbecue tools, licensed for the best teams in college baseball. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. Find the perfect grilling gift for the college baseball fans in your life. Father's Day is this Sunday, folks. If you don't have a gift, guess what? Baseballbarbecue.com got you covered. 20% off your order if you use the code 3D-20. That's 3D-20. Baseballbarbecue.com. Okay. So what else do we got to talk about here? The Jello Shot Challenge is back at Rocco's, of course. Will anybody challenge LSU who had, 68,000 Jello shots 2 years ago?
Yeah, sounds about right. Nobody will challenge them. Nobody.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I hope Murray State has I hope the fans of programs that aren't there call in, put in their orders, and help Murray State.
Somebody has already ordered 100 Jello shots from Murray State, actually.
Beautiful.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Somebody has already done that.
Who's your prediction? Is it going to be – I don't think LSU wins it this year.
Oh, to win the World Series or win the Jello Shot Challenge?
To win the Jello Shot Challenge.
You don't think it's LSU? Oh, you know what? I agree with you. I think it's Coastal Carolina.
I do too.
Yeah. If you've never been to Myrtle Beach, if you know, you know. All right.
Yeah, and the thing is, LSU, not that them winning 2 years ago makes them want to drink any less or have fun or party, but when you think about that LSU team, that was a generational team with Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens and the rest of those, moving pieces. And Jay's got his now. I just don't know if the LSU army of fans is going to arm up the same way they did to make the same declarative statement they did 2 years ago. However, I say that and I'll be eating my words because they're going to be like, oh yeah, you think we're not going to do better than last time? We got that, So I don't know.
No, I think if Coastal hangs around and doesn't go 2 in barbecue, which I don't have them going 2 in barbecue, I have them in the bracket 1 final against Oregon State. I think they can do enough. Those Coastal fans will travel and they will drink. You better believe it. So that'll be fun to watch the tallies as we always do at CWS Shotboard on Twitter, on Instagram. Go ahead and follow that. The guys at Rocco's, Kevin Colgett and his team are phenomenal. We've had Kevin on the podcast before. Love the work that they do and the charitable aspect they do with the College World Series Jello Shot Challenge, where they took on the road this year. So fantastic to see them do that as well. Is that Kevin Schnall being announced as the coach of the year nationally?
Yes, according to Perfect Game, just came out.
Here we go. All right. Well, good for Kevin Schnall because he deserves it. Absolutely true. Quick update for you on the bracket challenge. Then I'll get your quick thoughts on Duke's Chris Pollard, and we'll get the heck out of here so you can continue on with your vacation that is so well-deserved before you head to Ruston. D1 bracket challenge update. Winner reminder gets 4-pack of Borgo balls. Thank you to Backyard Baseball Bros and the Bergonio brothers. Go to backyardbaseballbros.com to get your Borgo balls. The Ocean Storm ball is still coming soon. It's coming out in the summer. All right. It's coming soon. Pink ball, blue laces, perfect combo for summer heat. You can get the OG Borgo ball 4-pack for $20. And they are also offering 10% off your first purchase if you go to the website right now and put in your email. Little hack for you right there. But backyardbaseballbros.com. They are awesome. We love the Bergonio Bros. And they are continuing to surge throughout the baseball scene. And if you win our bracket challenge, you get a 4-pack of Borgo balls. Ethan Power, still the leader. 56 points, 97th in the nation for Ethan Power. So clap for him. Kyle, you and I are each tied at 42 points. We are tied for 7th out of 16 in our pool. Each of us have 3 College World Series teams and the same champion. The only separator is if LSU is the runner-up, I win.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're going to tie. That's it.
Interesting. Okay.
That's it.
I think we're going to tie.
I think so, too. So if LSU ends up being the runner-up in bracket 2, we tie. Other than that, or I win. Other than that, we tie. So there's your bracket challenge update. Coaching carousel. We'd already announced it at the beginning of the show. Virginia just announced they are hiring Duke's Chris Pollard away from Duke in conference to the ACC. Kyle has the tweet. It's a new era. Welcome to Charlottesville at Coach Chris 14. Chris Pollard has been.
God, that's ugly. God, that is ugly. What are we doing, man? Why are you leaving inside your own league to go to a Virginia program that has already been built? Like, you're taking the easy way out, my man. You had built a giant at Duke that just could not get over the hump. All right. 4 super regionals, not straight, but 4 super regionals overall. You've gotten so close. Like, why go somewhere where the path has already been forged for you to replace a guy like Brian O'Connor? Like, you're going to the enemy and you think Duke was not going to match or give you the money that you want. Like, I thought for sure this guy would leave to go to an SEC school. I thought he would leave to go to an SEC school, not leave to Virginia inside your own conference. And you look at the Virginia athletic department as a whole versus the Duke athletic department, where would you rather be? Like, to me, I think the Blue Devils in more ways than one. It's questionable. I just think is he going to be able to construct a roster more easily? Yeah. Is he going to be able to put together a team that has maybe more, I don't know, the NIL stuff. I don't know the specifics of both of these programs in comparison. And maybe Duke doesn't have enough assurances for him in baseball from an NIL standpoint. And I can believe that. Like, maybe there's more collective buy-in from the boosters and support at Virginia, given their baseball history. So I can see that. That's why Pollard is making this move. But to me, it just all points towards taking the easy way out or getting tired and exhausted of having to do things the way that he has done at Duke now for as long as he has. And that's the way I see it. If I'm missing something, tell me, but like, maybe he's going to be able to get players in ways that he couldn't at Duke, or the fact that he had to rely so much on like the Ivy League transfer portal and the other, ways of mixing and matching and putting together the pitching staffs. Like, maybe just wore him out. And being as close as he was yesterday, and losing, or this past weekend, and certainly this year, and finally getting postseason baseball at Jack Coombs, which has never happened before. And what a scene. It looks spectacular. They did a great job with it. For him to lose, like, I just think it's a wave the white flag type thing. And you're just going to a new opportunity that might have more stability or history long-term, where you think it might be easier to win.
I think there's a lot of potential truth to that. He is supposedly bringing his entire coaching staff with him to Virginia, and it may be that, and maybe he's been at Duke long enough. It's time for a new new area, new chapter, new opportunity, like you said. And it also could be Virginia just backed up the Brinks truck for him and said, we need a splashy hire And we're going to get a guy who, I mean, this deal was done before last night. So we need a guy in Virginia's mind who is either going to be in the College World Series this year or continues to take his team that he's currently with in Duke to new heights year over year over year, which we talked about Duke getting so close, being in a super regional 4 times, winning a game in each of them, not able to get over the hump, but he's right there. He's able to do it. You can see that the process works for Chris Pollard. And so, Virginia was like, this is the splashiest guy out there that we can go get. And so they got their man. It will certainly leave a sour taste in Duke fans' mouths who, love Chris Pollard and adore him for the last, decade that he's been with Duke. But I mean, listen, there's a multitude of reasons why coaches can leave to go to a different institution. You laid out quite a few of them. And for me, yeah, I think it's along the same lines of Chris Pollard probably just said, I'm ready for I'm ready for a change. Essentially, I've done all I can do here at Duke, and I'm ready for another step. He grew up in the Virginia area, though, right? Isn't that right?
I mean, he coached at Pfeiffer and App State, and then Duke. So, I mean, looking through the release, it notes 420 wins, most by a Duke coach in history, 7 NCAA tournament berths, the 4 supers, 2 ACC baseball tournament championships. He's the 16th coach in Virginia history. I don't see any. I mean, again, he started at Pfeiffer. So
let's see. I want to say he was born. Yeah. Okay. So he was born in Amherst County, which is in Virginia.
Okay.
So that, there's your connection. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah, he attended high school at Virginia Episcopal School in Lynchburg. So yeah, that's I'm sure that weighed on him as well.
Yeah. So listen, the deal's done. We'll see what he does in the wake of Brian O'Connor going to Mississippi State, which we all anticipated was going to happen. He did actually pen a letter to the Virginia community after you brought up last week that he would not do that, or he had not done.
He hadn't done it. Yeah, he hadn't done it yet, and it was chapping some people.
Right. So he did, and it was a very nice letter, very well thought out, well spoken, as Brian O'Connor is. And now he's at Mississippi State, and Chris Pollard fills that vacancy at Virginia. So now it's who fills the vacancy at Duke. And that is a program on the rise, but it's going to be a program with an entirely new coaching staff, probably a very depleted roster, because you'd imagine that anybody that he can bring from Duke, from his team, because Chris Pollard, as we know, is a player's coach. You could imagine that Duke will have a, bevy of players hopping in the transfer portal in the next few days and following Chris Pollard to Charlottesville. So it'll be a reconstruction project in Durham, but a reconstruction project for a program that has buy-in and just made it to their first home super regional in program history. So it's the right challenge for the right coach, and we'll see who's at the helm of the Blue Devils on the diamond next year.
We also have the new head coach at Georgia Tech, which went public about the same time we were doing the podcast last Thursday. James Ramsey, who was on staff. I think we even said they'll likely just promote from within. So 7 years on the staff, 5th year in his role as associate head coach this past season. Has been, the architect of some pretty impressive recruiting classes over the years. So, and played at Florida State, if I recall, because I think Mike Martin's widow, Carol, I believe is her name, had reached out. I'd seen a tweet and called him to congratulate him. So, just the respect, the support that he has from the Martins, from FSU, certainly somebody trusted by Danny Hall throughout the years. He was an assistant at FSU in 2018, but has been at Georgia Tech ever since. So James Ramsey, the next guy on the flats.
Yeah, congratulations to him as well. All right, that's it for me. Shass, I know you have a appointment with the zoo coming up as part of your stay in Chicago.
Yeah, we're going to drive up Lakeshore Drive and try to find some parking. That's a whole nother mess, but the zoo is free if I can get some parking, and the zoo walk along the lake. So that'll be pretty cool. I haven't done that since I was a kid. Thought it'd be something to take Pojo up to do. So then we'll see stop by a couple buddies. And then I just got a text from my buddy Carlton. I sent him the tweet from Virginia. He's diehard Dookie. And he's like, F that shit, dog. Seeing Pollard in the Virginia uniform. But yeah, no, we're going to go try and make the most of our remaining time here in Chicago. So Thank you, man.
All right, man.
We'll talk,
Well,
have a good show with Monaco on Thursday. You'll talk with him Wednesday night, and you'll drop another pod Thursday ahead of the start Friday in Omaha.
Yes, I will. And enjoy the rest of your trip in Chicago, and we'll see when you get back as we prepare to go through the final few weeks of Kyle Schassburger and Winston-Salem, man, as a host of Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
Yes, sir. 3 weeks from today, I start.
Wow. There we go. All right. The countdown is on, and the countdown is on to the Men's College World Series. It starts in 3 days. We'll talk to you in 2. Goodbye.